I mean, yeah, at first it just, felt we get our feet stepped on all the time at practice, so it just felt normal at first when I first got stepped on. But I tried walking off and it felt weird, like something was almost stuck in my toe. So I didn't really know what to think. I just knew something was wrong. So just went up on the sidelines and got carted and got the MRI and X-ray. And luckily they said it was just dislocated it. So, God was definitely looking out that day, but, I'm glad to be back on the field working.
How relieved were you that it wasn't anything more serious?
I'm very relieved. Like I said, God was definitely looking out. And, I'm just blessed to be here today, blessed to be on the practice field.
Has it limited you at all since you've come back?
I mean, for the first few days, of course, but, it's kind of working its way back to 100% now.
What was your assessment of just how the offense performed today?
I think we started off very slow at the start. And at the end of the practice, the last period, I think we ramped it up a bit. But definitely want to come out the stronger start. We can't warm up to things. We can't have a few bad reps and then, bring it all up and talk with each other and then decide to, all right, let's go. It's got to be right out the gate. So.
Why did you think the offense started out slow?
I don't know. But like I said, the heat, that's not an excuse. It's hot everywhere. It's hot here, hot in New England, hot in Miami, hot, everywhere. Like I said, it's not an excuse. It's our second day in pads. But like I said, we always want to come out the gate hot.
It seems like you and Mason are building some chemistry as time goes on. What's been the process like with him and getting to know him and his tendencies and all that?
Yeah, I mean, Mason's, he doesn't talk a lot. He does work a lot, though. From the moment he got here, he's been working, his head down working. He doesn't make, really any mental mistakes, at least from what I've seen. He's a great route runner. He's smooth, has natural hands, so he's been great so far.
Were you aware that when you went out on the cart there was like this panic on social media among Jet fans?
Yeah, my phone.
Your phone blew up with people.
Yeah, I mean, my phone blew up a little bit, of course. But like I said, once I got the results back, then, everything was all good after that.
Are you wearing any special cleat when you get the vector toe?
Yeah, I just got like this little plastic cover. My man's up came with it, so almost like a little steel toe, but it's a plastic toe. But we kind of came up with that idea, and just to try to protect it for these next couple of weeks.
How anxious were you to get back out there in terms of not missing reps? Obviously, new team.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is the time where you get those reps. You get, those new installation plays in. So I think this time is very valuable in terms of getting repetitions, getting on the same page with your guys, especially when you're learning new concepts and stuff like that. So definitely didn't want to miss much time, and that's why I was kind of so eager to want to get back on the field and wanting to keep going.
I know it's about the team and you guys are all trying to build something, but how do you evaluate yourself these last 2 days since you've come back?
I think I've been all right. I think I'm always going to say there's room to improve. Like I said today, the offense as a whole, we didn't start off great. I think I think we finished off great. But like I said, we want to start fast, finish fast, and of course maintain that in between as well.
Looking ahead, what are some expectations you have for yourself?
You said for myself? Just be the best leader on this team I can be. I think that's the biggest thing, just being in my position, leading this offense, having us reach our full potential, me being the best player and also elevating the players around me and, competing each and every day out here. I think those are, my main goals right now at least, but, I'm just taking it day by day.
How have you been elevating the players around you while also working on your personal growth and improvement?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. Of course, the better I make the players around me, the better, I'm going to perform. So I think it's just working together as an offense, working together as a team, and just getting extra reps, talking through different concepts, talking through different routes, and just making sure that chemistry's there.
The other day, I was talking to Justin, how relieved were you when you found out that your quarterback was a minor injury and not, like a disaster?
Yeah, I was very relieved. After knowing him for the past decade, damn near now, it's always like, when's he gonna be back out there with him? He's just a tough cat. He's never out too long. He broke his ribs against Clemson in college, and I don't know if he missed a play. So he's just that type of guy. So for me, it's always like, if Justin go down, I know it's likely serious if he lead a field, and because of that, I was very relieved to see him, the next day, trying to get reps again,
How do you feel like it's been going with this offense, getting to know the new scheme and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's been good. You know, there's been a lot of ups and downs to it, which is what it's all about. You know, this time of the year is for that. I feel like we're progressing in the right way. You know, I feel like we might have took a little step back today as far as our execution and just finishing plays, but that's bound to happen. You know, we got a good defense on the other side of us. They're learning, they're getting better too, in their new scheme, and we're just gonna keep building on this thing. But I'm definitely excited for what it can look like, and yeah, we're just gonna keep building this chemistry, building up, you know, exactly where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, and all of a sudden it'll be beautiful in the end. You know.
What do you
You
think
have,
it
you have to
can
get
look
there.
like? What do you think the offense can look like?
That's a Whalers hat.
Yeah.
Duh.
You know how I do.
I know. What do I think it can look like? I think it can be, I think it can be explosive, man. It's something that's going to be very complimentary. The better we can run the ball with especially the running backs we got and Justin's ability to run the ball and Tyrod, I mean, the more push we can get, the more we can run the ball on second and short and convert. That stuff's just going to open up everything for us, you know. So, you know, as a receiver room, we're really excited to just see how this thing progresses, see how it all complements each other, and yeah, by the time we, you know, get into the season, hopefully we're rolling. Y'all can see that too.
Getting rolling. Do you have to be rolling by week 1, Garrett, or is that something that might take a few weeks to get going because there's so many new pieces on this offense, new coordinator?
No, I mean, ideally, yeah, we're rolling by week 1. We've been at it since April. You know, we got a week head start on this thing. We did that for a reason, right? We got to find a way to be playing good football and executing by week 1. And you know, the beautiful thing about that is we still got 5-6 weeks to figure that out and make that happen. But yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. If we go into it trying to giving ourselves that leeway in week 1, and all of a sudden it might be week 8. You know what I'm saying? So week 1's the deadline. We got to be rolling.
Garrett, what have you seen from Mason Taylor?
He's a
Rookie
dog.
tight end.
Just consistent work. It's the best way I can put it. He's got great hands, trusts his hands, and he finds a way to be open when he needs to be. And then ball finds him, and he makes a play, which is, you know, for a position like that, he's as good as I've seen, is just making the play, finishing the play, being open, and that's a position where if you can do that for a long time, you're going to make a lot of money. So I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's really going to help us this year because he's a great player. You know, came in ready.
It did seem like y'all had some things rolling in that 2-minute offense there today. Just kind of what was clicking there?
Yeah, just playing fast. You know, playing fast, not thinking as much, just getting up on the ball, rolling. What we ended up scoring on a corner to Mason. Yeah, just executing, right? You know, I got to be on my stuff during that period, and you know, that goes for all the guys out there, and I think we did. You know, we hadn't had a good practice leading up to that point, so you want to finish detailed, you want to finish well, you want to finish with the touchdown, and that's what we did. You know, it was a good way to finish it.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you in the offense? Is it the routes, the terminology, in terms of learning it and getting to where you want to be by week 1?
Yeah, just the terminology. You know, it's the ones you struggle with are the ones that meant a different thing and the same thing but a different word in the different offense, right? And that was, you know, it doesn't seem like it, but that was just like six months ago. So initially it was like 2-3 months ago in OTAs. It took a little while. I'm past that now, and I feel good about, you know, this offense. But it was just the terminology, and as things start to simmer down a little bit as far as the install, I'm getting even more comfortable and can go out and play fast. And now it's just about mastering those details, which you know, I got some work to do, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You know, you try and find a way to get 1% each day, and for me, you know, that's got to be the case.
With your route running, you've always been a guy who's relied on your natural instincts. Does this offense require, like, do you have to adjust that at all? Like, just be more precise in that route running?
Yeah, I
How do you
mean,
balance that?
yeah, I mean, I feel like you always want to be in the right spot where your quarterback's expecting you, and that comes with the detail-oriented route running mindset. You know, since my first day in the league, I've had to lose some of the things that I maybe did well, or some of my feel things, and that's okay because, you know, this is a very timing spot predicated league, and the defenses all drop, adjust, you know, based on what they've seen for hundreds of years with offenses, right? So with that, it's been my job since my first day in this league to always balance that with what I'm being asked to do and what the quarterback's expecting me to do, and every year, sadly, it's been, or not sadly, but, just been the case of it's been a little different details with some new staff. So it changes, and I just got to keep finding a way to master that and being on it.
We talked about Aaron changing the culture and things like that. Through camp, what have you seen that's maybe a little different than what you've experienced, your first few years in the league?
Yeah, just the competitiveness. Not just talking about being competitive. Like, no. You got to train that way. It's got to feel like that at practice. It's got to feel like if you lose, it sucks at practice. It can't just be, we'll turn it on when the game comes, right? And I think that's the main thing that I see that's different. Just the way we're practicing, the intensity, the stakes. It feels like there's stakes. Depending on which period it is, the stakes feel higher based on whether it's a competition red zone or a 2-minute. It feels like you won the drill when you won the drill, right? And it feels like you lost when you lost. And to me, that's how I like it. It's practice, yes, but there's also an opportunity to practice winning and get that feeling and what it takes to just do it, right, on a consistent basis. And I think it starts out here. So that's something that I love to be a part of. And throughout these first couple months, I've seen it, for sure with the way he's hammering home stuff in meetings.
The open field tackling drills you guys did yesterday going to the ground.
Yeah.
You did some Saturday where it wasn't. It's been a long time.
Saturday was a joke.
Been a long time since we've seen those around here. What did you think of those and having those in training camp?
I love it. I think you gotta, it goes with everything else. You gotta practice winning. You gotta practice losing. If you want to be good at tackling, you gotta practice tackling. If you want to be good at making people miss, you gotta practice making people miss. So me personally, I love it. Find a way to keep everyone healthy, and you can tackle the right way. You got good technique, you'll do that. Saturday was cool. I feel like they did the defense a disservice having it the way it was on Saturday because they was just running up, two-hand swiping, whole crowd going crazy. Nah, that ain't it. And then yesterday it was reality a little bit, So, that's a good thing. Make it hard on them, and it is. And all of a sudden we'll start seeing the defense win more of those reps, and that's when we know we're becoming a better tackling team, right? So I think it's a good thing. I love it. Competition,
What's it been like getting to know Aaron away from the field, too? I know he talks about he likes to have guys feel free to come into his office.
Yeah, I mean, you could truly just, chop it up with him. It doesn't feel like you having, coach talk or, I don't know what the word is, but you're just chatting, right? Talk about stuff. And honestly, the main thing for me is, when I talked to him and initially going back to our first chat, I realized he was a Texas dude. And then, being a smaller guy, that's me, right? So we've got a lot of ideology that goes back to his time playing and being part of the Jets, being from Texas, A&M guy, that I didn't realize we were going to have in common, right? And then just the expectation for when we're out on the field, how it's supposed to look, how it'll get on my ass if I put a ball on the ground or don't run with details. That's what this thing is. That's what I miss from college, and having to do it yourself, making sure that you're that hyper focused on it yourself is fine, right? But when you got someone else to maybe push you on that a little bit more, and not let you slip up on that stuff, it's valuable. And I want to make sure I don't, miss my moment while it's going on right now. Take it all in and try and make sure I'm really honing in on these details. At the end of the day, he was a DB, so if he watches me and says, "Hey, you rose up," or "That route wasn't that," he's got the same mindset as the dudes I'm gonna be going against, right? So it's valuable info, and he's got a lot of them, a lot of valuable info, a lot of valuable nuggets that all of the guys are just trying to take in right now and see how he likes things done. Does he ever tell me how good he was? I kind of know. He ain't got to say too much. Whenever we were down in Texas talking, he was like, "I ain't been down here," and we were in Austin. He was like, "I ain't been down here. The last time I was down here, I had a pick 6." You know what I'm saying? And that's one of those subtle flexes, right? I guess he did it at DKR, where Texas plays at. He picked 6 them, went with 99, 100 or something like that. So stuff like that. Now he ain't got to say too much. I already know what time he was on with that. Smaller dude. What he's a top 10 pick. What was he? 11? 14. Yeah. So for a cornerback, like that, he ain't got to say too much. He's stamped. So.
Coming into, OTAs, minicamp, just kind of what was your goals heading into, getting the same goal with AG?
My goal was focused on today's practice, and today's practice, the only mindset I had was to win. And so, that's pretty much my goal every day. I don't really focus on the future. I like to focus on straightforward, and I like to focus on today because that's the only thing that I can work on today. I can't work on tomorrow, and I can't work on yesterday. So today is the only thing that I'm really focused on.
How do you think you did today?
Like I did very good. Great execution.
You took a huge leap last year with getting to 10.5 sacks. What's your expected leap this year?
Because just continue to do better. Like I said, focus is keeping my balance between football, life. I just like to win that life, win that football, win that, making sure that I'm putting the right foods in my body, getting stronger, and that's mainly just like my ultimate goal is just to win every day.
AG said you added weight coming in this year. How did you go about that?
It was easy. I mean, just continue to pound food, lift weights, just make sure that I stay consistent. I think one thing that I was missing last year was my consistency, and I think the big thing is that change is always inconsistency, and if you don't have change, then you're not doing something right. So to me, just continuing to change and just to get better and win every day is my mindset.
What exactly were you eating to be able to gain that weight?
Just a lot of protein, food, carbs, all of that. Just pounding food, about 6 meals a day. Just continuing to just grab on, all of that type of stuff. Eventually just get my weight up, my power and strength.
How much did you add?
You said what?
How much weight did you add?
15 pounds. So before this, I was around I want to say I was around 235, OTAs. I went down on purpose because I'm trying to get all that fat out, trying to get more muscle mass. And then, just come with eating right foods, all of that. And, I was able to gain a couple pounds from doing that. And now I'm out here balling. And so, that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Do you notice any difference in anything from, with that weight or?
There's strength, explosiveness, and it's not just that, just making sure that I'm controlling my body, seeing what I'm hitting, hearing everything, looking around. That all plays an effect, and like I said, if you're not changing your game, then you're not being consistent with what you're doing.
We saw you have some power Saturday with the power move on Membo. Is that an element of your game you want to add to? I mean, everyone knows your speed. Is power something you want to bring to your game this year?
It was already added. I just never really utilized it, as well as I should. Like I said, change. I had to change, my approach with everything. Just doing that. Obviously, everybody know that I like to, speed, spin, all of that. But, once I get tackles on their heels, I'm able to get that power and that strength thing.
Aaron Glenn has made it clear that he's a big believer in you. Just what's it been like getting to know him and receiving coaching from him?
Real down to earth man. He treat me like his own son. I can't say too much, but I know he got my back, so I'm not really worried about too much of anything bad happening. I think he has everybody heads on their shoulders around his team, and we should be doing just fine.
How much you've been enjoying those battles with Membo, the rookie coming in?
It's fun. It's real fun. Membo, he me and him, been working on a lot. We watch film, talk about a lot of things. Membo could definitely hold his own around in the league. I think he's going to be one of the best tackles in the league at some point. And, this year, I know for sure he's going to ball out. Us just going back and forth. Him, Olu, they both, all the three of us just be in a room talking, boom, boom. And, both of them, both of them is going to be the best tackles in the league.
When do you decide that you added power to your game? And you're going to use speed when you're going to use power?
I really just kind of plan my approach of what I want them to do. I don't really, try to play chess. I want to put the pieces on the board for myself. And so, in that aspect, it's really them against me. and it's really me against 5. So, you know, that's really like my mindset. You know, just getting them to do what I want them to do, and you know, whether it be speed, power, you know, whatever I do, just continuing to change my game, like I said.
Take a couple more. Do you find, because your spin move is so well known now, because you had so much success with it last year, do you find that you get, once you do it once on a guy, and attack is sort of leaning in one direction, and then that's when you hit him with the power?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, that's when I can, you know, just hit him with the power. You know, like I said, you know, all they do is just set on my speed. So, you know, I think it was very good for me to utilize, you know, my power, be able to control what I'm doing, and, you know, just getting after it.
Is there a sack total that would make you happy this year?
No, not at all. I have no sack total. Whenever I approach the game, you know, the game's going to be the game, and I'm going to ball out, and, you know, that's going to be it.
How do you think you and Jermaine could potentially complement each other? Obviously, you broke out last year. Jermaine went down the rookie season. He's on the mend, working his way back.
Me and Jermaine going to be ballers this season. That's all I got to tell you. You know, man, we're going to ball out. We're going to do our thing. You know, I trust him. He trusts me. You know, the D-line trusts us. We trust the D-line. So, you know, once we get on that field, we trust each other enough to get the job done.
Would it be fun to get your old quarterback in week 1, Zach Rogers?
Yeah, you know, I always wanted to, you know, sack Rodgers, you know, from a little kid. Actually, let me not say that, because a little kid, I wasn't even interested in playing football. But I did watch him, though. I watched him a lot. But, you know, once you know, like I said, when I first came here, obviously I wasn't, you know, able to do that because we were on the team. But now, you know, I think he's going to be very competitive. I'm sure he already knows, you know, what I'm about. So I'm sure he's going to have his head on his shoulders, you know. Obviously, he's the vet, so I'm sure he got a couple tricks up his sleeve.